Good morning. Welcome to the Driller Newscast, episode 7. I'm your host, Brock Yorty. We have an exciting episode this week with special guest Jake Fletcher of the leadership column for the Driller magazine. Our main story for the week will be in conjunction with our safety talk on injuries and how we can prevent them on the job site. So let's jump into the news that is impacting our industry this week. Now for the news in the mining industry. In the Western United States, we have 2 mining projects working to start exploration and site work under dispute. First, in Tucson, Arizona, Hudbay Minerals is in the final plans to do site preparation for a new 5 open pit mine. The Rosemont Copper Mine's proposed location is the western slope of the Santa Rita Mountains, which is private land. The contention comes from 3 Arizona tribes who believe that the site work and grading would violate federal Clean Water Act's rules on unpermitted discharge into federal regulated waters. We should all pay attention to this project and similar projects like this on the ruling and proceeds. We've had many great mining projects that have wonderful water plans and site restoration plans and environmental policies in place. And we've also just had other projects that didn't successfully go as well. And it all comes down to execution and everybody doing their part. Now in Idaho, there are plans just west of the Yellowstone National Park to build a new gold mine. In March, documents were filed in federal court by the Greater Yellowstone Coalition against the U.S. Forest Service, requesting that the case involving the Kilgore Gold Exploration Project in Clark County be reopened. Preliminary projections believe there could be 825,000 ounces of gold that is possibly mined by surface. 3 years ago, exploration initiatives were stopped by federal court that ruled work could potentially impact the Yellowstone's cutthroat trout. In 2021, Idaho's Forest Service approved a new exploration plan outlining 130 drilling locations. The Idaho Conservation League and the Greater Yellowstone Coalition lawsuit contends that the exploration drilling would impact surface water, groundwater, white bark pines, the cutthroat trout, Columbia spotted frog, and grizzly bears. Furthermore, water required for drilling will be pumped from the Beaver Creek, which is another potential site of impact. Gold mining is very important to our civilization. I know many of us believe it's for jewelry and gold bars, but however, gold is vital for all parts of technology as a conductor. In 2019, Japan recycled 6.2 million phones and other handheld technologies to create the metals for the 2020 Summer Tokyo Olympics. To think that amount of gold and all of those devices was recycled, melted down, along with the silver and copper and zinc to make bronze, to make all of the metals. So gold is in all of our technologies, and that's why we continue to have projects that are exploration mining to pit, to deeper exploration, and subsurface mining. Again, it comes back to us being good stewards of the environment. I worked a mining project in Yellow Pine, Idaho, which was right on the Salmon River. And sure, there was some missteps there, but they have been really good environmental stewards. And it's part of that community and a way of life. So mining is viable and something that we need to continue to do. We just have to make sure we execute effectively and we permit effectively, and we understand the discharge we can have from slopes to federal waters, or discharge we have from inadvertent returns in wireline coring where that has happened often, and understanding the impact of the amount of water usage we have in the community. And now it's time for our featured driller, our featured industry professional. And this gentleman in front of us Captain Jacob Fletcher, also columnist for the Driller magazine. Driller, been on some 50Ks, construction guy, uh, currently high school varsity baseball coach, and all around excellent individual when it comes to talking leadership, construction, safety, not to mention just being a wonderful friend of mine and mentor. And I know you're going, what? Mentor? But yes, 30-year-olds, and he just turned 30. So, these damn kids these days. Uh, Him and I share a lot of different insights and perspectives, and from East Coast to West Coast. And we caught Jacob in the morning, and it's afternoon here. So we're going to get into it. Jake Fletcher, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell the industry something they might not know.
Well, it's sunny out here in Las Vegas. Normally I wouldn't have my sunglasses on, but it's bright, and doing this interview from my truck. So currently on site, doing some training with the horse, and happy to be on here. Little known fact about me. Well, you shared with everybody, I just took over a high school baseball team. So that's kind of the big news in my world. And it's been a lot of fun. So excited for that. Excited to be here. Always excited to talk leadership and drilling and all things in between.
So Jake, how the heck, you're in the Air Force, how the heck did drilling get into your blood in the Air Force?
Well, I showed up here in Vegas, let's see, 19, 20, 4 years ago. It's been 4 years almost. So 4 years ago, I showed up here. I was down here visiting before I moved to Vegas to be a part of the horse. I had been selected. And while I was in town, the major that was in charge of where I was going to work, he said, hey, I saw that your educational background is in environmental engineering, specifically water quality and resources. And I've got this guy in town giving a talk. I'd like you to sit in and maybe see, if you know anything about it, and if it's something that you'd be interested in working on, because we need somebody to fix our drilling team. So I said, okay. So I walked in, and it was just the officers mainly, and there was you were in the room giving a talk, and you were going through a lot of technical stuff and just talking about drilling. And the more I sat there, the more I was like, I know what he's talking about. Like, I studied this stuff in school, groundwater and all this different stuff. And I said, wow, this would be really interesting for me to get into, and I would get to run my own team. A lot of people didn't really want to be on the drilling team because they generally don't understand how important it is, but I saw it as an exciting opportunity. And so when I got here, I got heavily involved in it and got it reorganized and in a good place. And you got to come out and hang out with us several times. We had some other folks come out, and we really got some good training going and got some capabilities going that we weren't using before.
So what is one big lesson, being a classically trained leader going through, an officer's school? What is one lesson in drilling that was something that wasn't classically trained to you?
Being that it was something that I was not experienced in when I got here, I had to rely heavily on the people that I had here. And it really was the first time in my career that I really had to balance that line of, okay, I've got some senior people that have done this, and they, rightly so, think that they have the expertise. But then I have these other people on the team that have good ideas that are not being heard. And so, because you have been here for some of that and some of those training wells and holes that we drilled. It was a lot of back and forth. Okay, we'll try it your way. Now we're going to try it this way because it didn't work. And, a lot of people, I think, could really damage that situation and damage those relationships if you don't balance them correctly, because it's very easy to get frustrated and say, no, we're going to do it my way, and I don't care what you have to say. But that's where adaptive leadership comes in, and you just kind of adapt yourself to the situation and say, okay, we'll try it this way, and then we'll see what happens, and if it's successful, just accept that it's successful, and just don't how do I explain it? Just accept the success instead of trying to say, well, maybe if we had done it my way, it would have been faster, or it's just a balance of emotions, really. And so that was probably the first big lesson I learned and on the team, and that really got a lot of people to buy in, to say, hey, he's willing to listen to our ideas, and he's willing to try different things instead of just doing the same stuff over and over. So
what advice would you give? You are 30 now, so we'll call you almost an adult in our industry. Um, what advice would you give that 18, 19, 20-year old that really wants to be part of this industry, either in the military aspect of drilling or in the, industrial private sector?
I would say don't let interactions with people who might not be inviting to you, or who may have a different attitude about being young. I'm the type of person that I look at younger individuals today, and I see a lot of potential in them, but not everybody looks at younger generations that way. And I would say don't be discouraged when you come across people like that, because um, you have to put yourself in their shoes a little bit, and just understand where they're coming from, and just don't be discouraged, because it's really a fun industry to be a part of. It's good work. We need people to come into this industry, whether it's in the military or in the private sector. So we can't really afford for people to be scared away just because there might be some grumpy person in the office. And so that would be my biggest advice. And then just also, if you really want to be a part of this industry, get as much information and knowledge as you can. Just soak it up as much as possible. There's so many aspects to drilling. And today there's so many different methods for drilling. And there's so many people out there that are willing to help you. I've had folks reach out to me, via email and stuff from articles, and it's just, I enjoy the collaboration of the industry. So, don't be discouraged, and be like a sponge. That's my best advice.
Well, thanks, Jake. We really appreciate you contributing to the Driller and our other podcasts we do together, like Leaders Drink Last. It's rewarding for you to share your military experience and some of that classically trained knowledge, along with what you've learned along the way and the generations you're working with. Thank you, Jake.
Yep. Thanks for having me, buddy.
All right, get back to it.
All right. Sounds good.
For our main story this week, I'm flipping the script, and our safety topic and our main story are going to be one, because this is a crazy time for us to be starting the second quarter and MSHA releasing an announcement that there's been 12 fatalities for 2022. And if you go to the OSHA website right now, you can watch a running ticker of fatalities in construction. And for 2022, it's somewhere between 8 and 10 fatalities. When you're at the OSHA website, pay attention to the numbers. Over 100 workers a week die on the job, with an average of 15 a day. That is for all industries. When you drill deeper, you will see that 1 in 5 fatalities is a private company and in construction. That's unacceptable. OSHA is not the safety police. They're more like law and order special victims unit, often showing up to investigate after the catastrophe. OSHA is a small group. It's 1,850 inspectors who are responsible for the health and safety of 130 million workers employed at more than 8 million work sites around the nation. This translates to 1 compliance officer for 70,000 workers. Federal OSHA has 10 regional offices, and there's 85 local area offices. Therefore, the idea that OSHA will catch you on the unsafe act before it turns bad is unlikely. An independent study performed in 2020 for construction stated that 25% of laborers and construction workers worldwide are worried about getting injured daily. Another 55% of the construction workers in this study believe they need better training on site and off. In the drilling industry, unsafe acts and conditions are rampant. And what I hear every time we have some sort of catastrophic incident, Brock, we can't control the unknown. You're absolutely right. When we're in drilling, we don't know what the subsurface is going to give us. When we show up on a job site to pull that pump or to do that geotechnical boring, there are a lot of X factors to the unknown. But one thing that isn't unknown to us that we can control is the preparation that goes into the project and the job, the processes that we train our people on, and those standard procedures, the tools that we use to make sure our people are safe, the safeguards that we have on our equipment, and understanding the risk of that rotating and smashing and percussion or suspended loads. And that all leads to creating good choices by our teams. If we look at injuries in our industry, falls, just like the rest of the construction industry, just like general industry, greatest amount of fatalities. And our falls come from lack of fall protection, climbing things that we shouldn't be climbing, no handrails, bad anchoring, over 90 fatalities in the last 8 years in the drilling industry. Next, confined spaces, not using that air quality monitor, not having one on site, not understanding confined space permitting and why those rules have been set in place. In the past year, there's been 217 fatalities caused by confined spaces. Many of these situations, there's 2 fatalities on the job where the supervisor or the colleague is the would-be rescuer, not thinking about themselves, thinking about, I need to save my brother, my best friend, my coworker. When we move beyond that, electrocution. And again, last week we talked about 360 degrees of the job site, understanding the fall path of my rods, understanding my mast, understanding how that tooling can swing with those suspended loads. We need to follow proper setbacks, 71 fatalities in the past year. Finally, for us, amputation from hazards of rotating equipment, reciprocating equipment, things that cut, shear, punches, drill rigs, our breakout tools, what it takes to bring things apart. So what are we going to do? We either train the way we fight or we fight the way we train. We need to get everybody, sit down, find out of our group, that 25% that feels safe, feels they may get injured today, and have a discussion about our processes and the best tools and what that spidey sense is that tingles on the back of your neck when the suspended load is coming across. Understanding that we need to have a good collaborative process when it comes to this so we can start preventing these fatalities. And I reflect and I think, why didn't I say stop today? Why didn't they say stop? When I see that photo on social media or that incident come across in the newspaper, who was there? Why didn't I say stop? First and foremost, there's a lot going on in the world. So we have common distractions that prevent us from seeing everything that's going on in the job site. And those start with the weather. The weather's coming in. I got to get everything wrapped up before that storm's here. Or, boy, is it going to make our job harder today because of this weather. Into project wrap up, what we're trying to do. That's when people get run over. That's when people screw up their back because we're, again, trying to do too much and not having that standard operating procedure in place. Beyond that, our smartphones. We have that relationship aspect of when we're out on the roads and the responsibility of everything that's still going on at home, that distract us. And that either causes that unsafe act or makes it so we don't say stop. Next, money issues. It's with fuel the price it is, what it costs to get a Big Mac and a large soda and fries, 12, 13 bucks. Money is always on our mind. And again, that is a big distraction. And then holiday weekends or big events coming up, those distract us, get us not thinking about what we should be doing today and thinking about what we are going to be doing. Do I want to be on that boat or do I want to be in the emergency room? Because keeping our head in the game is going to be the difference of ending at Friday at noon or spending the evening and the following day in the emergency room. And then finally, smartphones again. We get reached out. Grandma's got chest pains and she's heading to the emergency room, or this crazy COVID stuff. Family emergencies, these are common distractions and they prevent us from saying stop. So what are we going to do? We're going to utilize the word stop, not just because we're going to stop the job, throw the badge up and say, this is what's going to happen today. No, we can use stop to get everybody on the same page. Hey, stop. What's going on? You've dropped the wrench 3 times. Something else is going on. We can be that industry that looks somebody in the eye and go, are you in the game? What's happening today? Next, we can say stop when we feel uncomfortable or unsafe, so we can get the entire team thinking about what's going on with that suspended load. And on the same note, if somebody new on site says stop as they're looking at a suspended load, maybe the hoist plug's not in, maybe something looks off, but the 30 seconds it takes to have that discussion about what's going on is the difference between being in the emergency room or worse, shaking people's hands and hugging each other and saying, we're really sorry for your loss. So we all need the ability to say stop. And then I start to reflect on that. And we have good processes and good stop work authorities in place, and they're not used. So why didn't they say stop? Why didn't I say stop? It starts with, we're a tribal industry and we've always done it that way. Hey, Brock, it's always worked this way. Nobody's gotten hurt yet. And it's just spinning that cartridge in the Russian roulette for the time it doesn't. Why did I say stop? Fear of being wrong. I'm the new guy on site. 25% of the time I feel unsafe. But I don't say stop because I don't want to be hazed and harassed about it. We got to stop that. Next one, experience must be correct. I didn't tell Gary to stop hoisting up that stabilizer because he's done it that way a million times. He should know what's going on. Again, 30 seconds to get us all focused back on the job, way better than the alternative. Pain is temporary, pride is forever, right? That's why I didn't say stop. That's silly. Soft tissue injuries, those are the same things. We need to enjoy our families on the weekend. It's another time to say, hey, this isn't the smart way to do this. We still have 3 more days this week that we need to be productive. And then finally, like I've recapped before, why did I say stop? I wasn't paying attention. It wasn't my job. That's a poor culture to have. It all comes down to us having each other's back on these job sites and understanding why I'm going to say stop, why it's okay to say stop, and where we're going to go from there. Again, like Patton said, do we train the way we fight or do we fight the way we train? If people on site feel unsafe, we need to fix that before that new person or that far experienced person gets hurt for a silly situation. It's going to come down to this. It's good choices or bad choices. Sometimes there's a gray area in the middle where we're not quite thinking and we're not quite focused. And that's when somebody has to say, is that the right choice? Stop. I want to thank you for coming out and listening to or watching episode 7 of the Driller Newscast. I'm still looking for great interviews that can have anything to do with our industry, from safety to a big mistake to create success, to why is this happening this way today? Let's have a great discussion, share that knowledge, inspire others to share knowledge, because that's what it's all about. Beyond that, we got to stop being cowboys. We got to stop comparing ourselves to being invincible. I know a lot of great drilling legends out there, but they don't live forever. And we need to be smart on our safety. And I hope new guys, new gals out there, what I just said today about stop, use it. Say stop. Because that awkward moment is nothing compared to the downtime and the days and what else could come from that. It could be somebody's hand. It could be somebody taking another breath the following day. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. Check out thedriller.com. Check out Ask Brock. Check out Jake Fletcher's columns on leadership. It's pretty cool to have him on. Thanks, everybody.